Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the natal aspect Sun, Trine, or Sextile to Mars, as you guys have been requesting this one, and this is just an awesome aspect to have in your natal chart. It really shows ease in getting what you want in many ways, especially related to like external achievement and like long term goal getting and having the energy to put into things in your life that are really going to move you forward in the right direction, that's going to bring you confidence in your life. So, very, very fortunate, favorable aspects to have in your natal chart. The trine is going to be more powerful than the sextile. The sextile is a little bit more social than the trine, like it's a more relational aspect, so you can see a lot of gain through men or through masculine energy in the life with the sextile. Also with the trine too, there is, and you could have other aspects that are showing differently. You could have the sun trine Mars but squaring Saturn, which would kind of show two different things, right? But as far as just this aspect alone, isolated, it shows that there is a good karma related to masculine energy, because we've got the two masculine planets, not the only two masculine planets, I guess. Jupiter is also masculine, and but as far as like the inner ego goes, the masculine ego that we all have, when the sun and the Mars are in trine or sextile, they're working together rather than against each other. And yeah, like I said, this is very favorable for outer success, energy levels being quite high, but in a constructive way. And there's still a downside, we could still see anger issues or competitiveness with the trine or the sextile, even because we've got two very fiery energies touching each other. This is a double fire connotation aspect, so these are some very fiery people, and that of course can still present some troubles even in an easy aspect. And sometimes in some cases, easy aspects or the harmonious aspects can manifest just as difficultly as the hard aspects. So you always want to look out for that, because sometimes you could have a trine that's manifesting like a square, but overall there's more ability to make use of this energy in a constructive way when we have the sun trine or sextile Mars. And I'll never forget when I was learning astrology, I was about 16 years old. I have the square between Sun and Mars. And the people born about a month prior to me, so I was born May 8th, 1995, and so the people about a month earlier had the sun trine Mars, and I had the sun square Mars. And I did everybody's charts in high school, you guys. I was meant to be an astrologer. Like, I had everybody's birth information, and I was just like an obsessive astrologer back then, just learning it. And everybody was very open. Everybody wanted to hear what I had to say. So I had hundreds of charts even at 16 years old. But I remember thinking about this aspect because I focused on my squares a lot, and I have the square. And I was sort of jealous at the time of the trine people who were born like a month earlier than me. They're Aries and they had the sun trine to Mars. And what I noticed, or what I was jealous of back when I was younger, was that they were all, and this could have been because of other aspects, this could have been because they were Aries also, but they were all very athletic and loved sports and very good at sports and very competitive and very like physically high energy. And at the time, I'm actually really into like fitness now and working out and stuff, although not sports. But at the time, I was always weaker. I always had health issues. I never made the sports teams, although I wanted to, and I love sports. I was never a natural at that aspect. And that was an aspect of my life that was actually very hard. Health and physical fitness was, now it's something that's very easy. Early in life, especially my teenage years and younger childhood years, very, very hard, not natural at all. And I remember just even being so young and studying astrology for the first time, thinking, wow, these Aries suns with their sun trine their Mars in Leo really like make use of that energy in a constructive way, in a way that I haven't figured out. And also, as far as like school went, they were very easily excelling with their grades as well. And they seemed to have more of an idea of what they were doing and where they were going to go after school, and going to university, and like goals, achievements, grades, making the sports teams, like all these things. Like, to me, in my perception, it was like, wow, like they have it so easy. Like, and obviously they put in extremely hard work. I wasn't that into school. I was more into parties and boys and things like that. So obviously I didn't put in the work to like these outer achievements, but I always related that. I was like, wow, like my sun is square to Mars, and there's something about my energy. It's like I'm unable to use the two at the same time in the right way. But these trine people, like, it looked effortless, and I see now it probably wasn't effortless, but it was just easier for them to focus and easier for them to use that fire in a constructive way rather than a destructive way. So, anyways, I didn't mean to go into such a long story there, but it's just highlighting like what I noticed about this aspect when I was just a very young astrologer that I actually think is quite accurate in my perception of what was really energetically going on with the difference between someone who has a square and someone who has a trine or the sextile. And yeah, another thing that I would say about the people with the sun trine Mars and the sextile is going to be very similar as the trine, not quite as natural. It takes a little bit more effort to activate it. But what I'll say about that is that they have high integrity in most cases. They really like can have more of a respect for authority with the sun trine to Mars. Now, they don't have a respect for authority that is wrong, or like they'll stand up if they think something is wrong, but they're not just constantly like butting heads with people over every little thing. Like, they'll follow the rules if it's, makes sense. And they're not like letting their anger, or not even anger, it's their ego. They're not letting their ego get in the way of getting along with people in most cases, or like their ego is actually helping them achieve their goals and further their life purpose, which then in turn builds confidence and self-esteem. And now you could say as well, because the sun can represent the father, that the father instilled confidence and self-esteem in the child, and that there was somewhat of a good relationship there. Now, you have to look at everything, because if you throw this in with an opposition to Pluto or something like that, then there's going to be other stories involved. But just with this aspect in isolation, like I said, there's gain through masculine energy. There was likely sort of good or beneficial relationship with the father, as far as like the father figure promoting like goal achieving or physical fitness or sports. Like, maybe the dad was like the coach of the sports team or something like that, like very involved in like those kind of pursuits. So you have to look at the signs as well, because sun and Mars in water signs might manifest differently than sun and Mars in fire, right? But there was something helpful about the father. And women with this aspect, as they get older, they might have less conflicts with men as well. The men that they meet are more of like a high integrity than, maybe someone with other aspects. But, you have to look at everything, because you could still have other aspects that'll show difficulties with men. But like on some level, people with these aspects are more at ease with men and masculine energy. And being at ease doesn't mean there's inactivity, right? There can actually be more of a focus on, like I said, masculine energy things. Like, even people with the trine or the sextile, like even women with these aspects, can actually appear more masculine, because even though it's a harmonious aspect, this is like a fire fire aspect, right? The sun trine to Mars, especially, is like a fire fire aspect. So they're very outgoing, they're very like goal oriented, like boss kind of energy. Like people with all Sun Mars aspects are like that, but like the trine just flows really easily, that like they see something they want, they go after it. There's no like holding back. There's no thinking, oh, what are other people going to think of that? They actually really have this opportunity for like primal authenticity in the moment when we have these aspects. Because really, on a deep level, Mars is like that primal action, right? It's like without thinking, like how we go after something. But then the sun is more calculated. The sun is like how we want to be in order to be seen in our ego and in our confidence. So it's like when we combine these in a positive aspect, we really get this like ability to just be ourselves without thinking about it, without doubting it. And that can be really captivating. That can be really charismatic and alluring. And people with these aspects are going to be very attractive to other people. But at the same time, they do exude a masculine energy. So some women with this aspect might be considered, they're still kind of a masculine energy. Unless it's like in Pisces and Cancer or something, it might manifest a little bit differently. But they do have a lot of masculine energy, but in a very positive way. It's like they're able to use their energies constructively. They don't get so tripped up about things. They don't get so tripped up about people in authority. Like I said, they do things easily. They have like a magic touch or a golden touch, and they get stuff done without thinking about it. They don't have to think, oh, do I want to do that? They just go and do it. And then they might figure out, you know what, maybe I don't want to do that. And it's not this whole thing to do with their ego. It's just, well, I'm choosing this now. I'm going in this direction. Thank you very much. And there's more ease in action, and there's more like knowing of like what we should put our energy into and what we shouldn't put our energy into. What is going to actually produce a result and bear the fruit, right? People with the sun, trine, or sextile Mars, they know where to put their energies, where they're going to get the best result, and like they don't waste time. Now, with that being said, on the negative side, there can still be restlessness. There can still be impatience. There can still be competitiveness, and there can still be a fiery personality that does not want to take the back seat to anyone. We've got real leadership here. Now, that is a gift, but it could still be perceived as difficult in getting along with people in some cases. Although they get along better with people than the other aspects, they could still be like a very me first energy. And some people are definitely going to be jealous of them and their ease of success and their ease of action and going in the right direction. People that don't have that, like even like when I said when I was 16 years old, I was jealous of that. I'm like, I just wish I could do all those things they were doing, right? And now, obviously I'm older and I figured out my unique soul gifts and that. But yeah, like they definitely have that magic touch, that ability to do what they set their mind to do. And yeah, you could say that was instilled in childhood, or even this is a gift carried over from past lifetimes, that they have worked on their masculine energy. They've done something, let's say like a good deed in a past lifetime, to really be able to utilize their masculine energy in like the highest, best potential function. Okay. And in some rare cases, you're still going to see people who are jerks or a-holes with these aspects, like the Sun Mars aspects. They aren't soft, even when they're soft aspects. You could still see some potentially fiery, egotistical people with these aspects, but it's just more often than not that they know how to use their energies in the right way and not be too off-putting, because they do have a healthy level of ego expression, but it's not like overpowering. It's like the right amount of ego. The right amount, like everybody needs to have ego and their I am presence, right? That's like the sun. And when we have the sun working with Mars harmoniously, it's like that ego gets to actually accomplish what it needs because it's got that fire with it, working with it. We've got fire and energy and enthusiasm and passion. And yeah, these are some really interesting people. You definitely can feel their fire and their energy and their yeah, like I said, very attractive, very charismatic. You can feel these people. They feel warm. They're exuding heat and, like I said, physical activity, sports, masculine energy activities, and masculine energy is about being direct, being forward, being, action oriented, outgoing, right? This is all stuff that they're really good at. Being assertive, saying what's really on their mind. Authenticity, like I said, one of the most beautiful gifts of this aspect is like pure beingness, and they just can be themselves without holding back, and they don't feel bad about that, and that's a real gift. So I'd love to know your experience of this aspect or these aspects if you have either one in your natal chart. The trine is going to be more powerful. Like I said, the sextile takes a bit of activation, a bit of work, and can actually manifest a bit more relationally, like with relationships. But yeah, I'd love to know your experience of these aspects if you have them. And thank you for the requests, you guys. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Bye.